Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming in miniature video. In this video, we're going to continue on with my 15mm World War II project updates. And in today's updates, my focus is going to be on the tile system and the hill texturing, but I have other things to share as well. So we'll go over all of that today. Now, if you haven't come to any of these updates, what I like to do is kind of show you what I am working on currently, but also kind of tell you how far along the project I am, any insights or like figures that I've finished, etc., etc. So I try to put these out about once a week. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, sometimes it's a little bit shorter, sometimes I do it more frequently than once a week. Okay, so let's get started. This is my 15mm World War II project that I'm working on. I'm making a bespoke tile set that's going to be 5 foot wide by 8 foot long for 15mm Battle Group. Battle Group is a miniature set that I'm going to be using, but I could use it for any other miniature scale as well, because the map won't actually change. So if I ever decide to do a bolt action or a Operation Overlord in 20mm, I can do that. I'll just have to change out some of the terrain, like some of the hedges and some of the buildings, but everything else will work. Okay, it's just going to be a 5x8, battlefield, and I can play pretty much anything. Now, by looking at this tile here, you can see that I've got a flowered field, a darker green fields, lighter green fields. I even have a golden summer grass field, and on a few, not these tiles, but some of the other tiles, like this one, I even have what's called forest green, which is like this really dark green. So you can kind of see that there are 3 shades of green right there. And throughout my battlefield, I've broken the individual fields into their own colors, and this kind of helps me when I go to lay the bocage or the hedges. Here, I'll just pull a bocage up. While I lay the bocage down, I'll know there's a groove or a seam between the different fields, and I'll be able to just lay the bocage directly on top of that as kind of a guide for me as the referee, or as the battlefield organizer, that I'll know exactly where I need to be laying all my hedges and things like that. It's just one step additionally to help me, but it also differentiates each field into a unique field color, just like it is on the satellite map. I took a Google map photo of the battlefield, and there are a number of different fields, and each one has a different shade or color to it. Now, I tried to match the majority of the colors to the actual battlefield, but I took a little bit of a liberty on some of these as well. I basically, it's not 100% accurate. Plus, remember, that was like 70, 80 years, 60? Because this happened in 44, so, that's like 60 years ago, 58 years ago. So some of the fields might have changed. Okay, so let's talk about the bridge that I made. I talked about this bridge in the past, where I had wanted to use this bridge, but there's a couple of things about this. This is a great bridge on a battlefield. That's just laid on the table. Great bridge. 100% strongly recommend this bridge. It works on any 15, 20, 25 millimeter game, but less so on a 15 millimeter game. But on in this game, I wanted to have a flat bridge, not a bridge with an arch, and I didn't want to have this center column, right? So I created my own straight flat bridge with bricks, right? This is some foam. I cut it in half. I glued it on to each side. Actually, before I did that, I cut rows and bricks with my hobby knife, and then I glued it down, painted it, and at that point I realized that these brick walls were less than sturdy. They were very, very flexible, and they looked like they would break at any time. So I took some of this hard coat Mod Podge, right? This is a sealer, but it's also has a finish. So it has like a resin built, not a resin, like a what am I thinking of? Like a varnish. I stumbled on this the last time I was talking about this. It has like a lacquer built into it, and then when and it's heavier and harder than the other one. The other one is like a PVA and water mixture. It's like a good sealant for like your pictures or like puzzles you might make or something like that. But if you want an actual protector, I go with the hard coat. Now I put it on this, not knowing exactly how it would react, but it basically made these bricks sturdy, and they don't move at all. It really tightened up my work, and I'm really happy. Now I put this paper down for the asphalt. Originally I had used AK asphalt and painted it on just like I did the ridges here, and it came out smooth with just a very slight texture to it, almost like their desert sand has almost no texture. This is even less, and it came out jet black. I didn't like it, so I decided to revert back to my old ways and use this asphalt paper that I've already had. I used it, I just put it directly on top of the texture, and everything works just fine. So I had to also put it on the bridge. So I put this asphalt texture on the bridge. Okay, so I have one actually of these sandbag barricades. I don't know where I got this. I've had this for like 100 years. I don't know how long. I don't like the color. I think I painted it OD. I need to go back over it, maybe make it khaki. It is some kind of resin. And I have only one of these. So I'm not exactly sure how I acquired this or where I got this from. I don't even know what the manufacturer of this is. If it is, put it in the comments. But I went online and I looked for a bunch of different barricades, and I found something online where you get a set of them for like £7 or something like that. And I thought that was a pretty good deal, so I was going to get 2 sets. It would have equated to about 10 barricades, everywhere from large to medium to small barricades. And then I went to order it, and then the shipping wound up being another £10. So for the barricades, instead of just £14, it was going to be £24. And I said, nope, not going to do it. I mean, I could make my own. I can take some I could take some gravel and some wood or even some cardstock or something, and I could glue some gravel on there. And then once I've painted it and sealed it and everything, it would be rock hard and it wouldn't be flexible. So that would work too. But then I went to Boeda because I remember seeing some barricades there for their 148 tactic. So I went there and I noticed they had 15 millimeter barricades, and they were built specifically for Flames of War. And that's mostly 90% of the bases that I'm going to be using are the Flames of War bases, either medium or small, right? Very few of them are going to be large. Specifically on this game. In this game, there's no anti-tank guns, so I'm probably not going to use any on this game. And I looked at them, and you get like 4 for 7 pounds. And I was like, well, that's like twice the price. The detail on them are a lot better. That original company, it looked like they used a 3D printer to print these out, and I wasn't too excited about that. But the Boeda ones, I've had a lot of Boeda terrain in the past, wrecked Kubel wagons, or the discs, the donuts, or the trench walls, and they've all looked top notch, 100%. Now I got some 15 millimeter ancient buildings from them. I've had those for years. And Boeda just makes a good product. So I said, you know what? I'm going to see what they have. And they have like desert and urban and rural sets. You can get small, you can get medium, you can get a mix of small and medium, you can get a mix of small and large, or whatever, right? And they have a number of different sets. And they're packed, like maybe they have like 20 different mediums, well, probably closer to 10. They have like 10 mediums, but if you order a pack of 3 mediums and another pack of 3 mediums, it's going to be random. You might get some duplicates, or you might get all 6 different, or whatever. So I added it up and I looked at their shipping, and it was pretty good. I think it was like 10 pounds as well, but I wound up spending, I think, $50 on their site. I should be getting in like 6 packages of their trenches. They even have this one terrain piece. I struggled to decide if I wanted to get it or not. It's a crashed 109, Messerschmitt 109, crashed into a wall and then you paint it all up and you put it on the table as an objective, like that's like an objective piece. And I said, man, I want to get that so bad, but not for this 15 millimeter project. I might get it in the future, but I didn't get it. Okay, so we got the bridge update, we got the trenches update. The only reason why I needed to get any trenches is because one squad, 10 men on both sides, are supposed to be in entrenchments. And I wanted to get a mixture of large and small because small and medium. I wanted to get a mixture of small and medium because I want my players to decide which 10 men are in these entrenchments. They could be their machine gunners, they could be their FOs, or they could be, whoever, the bazooka men or whatever. And I wanted them to be able to pick and choose the entrenchments and place them on their table where they deploy their troops. Because, it's up to the players really to decide. I bought some Old Glory foxholes with guys inside the foxholes, and I was going to base up a whole second group of figures so that the players could place them, and then when they leave the foxholes, if they leave the foxholes, to put the figures on the table. And I decided to go away from that project. I'm just going to make some like sandbag barricades. I think that's the best way to go with it. Okay, so let me okay, I got all 3 of these. I need to do more than this. This is not enough. Okay, let's get that paint out of the way. De-dum. This looks good. I just want something to elevate my next board over this so it doesn't stick to it. Same thing with this one. Let's get those out of the way. Okay, another thing you might notice is here's a river. I also did this river up here, and you can see that I used light earth on the riverbank. Before I did that, I put down some Alex flex acrylic, and I squirted it down the entire riverbed, like on that tile, this tile, and this tile. And then I watered my finger down and basically drew a line with my finger down the river. It took me about 10 minutes because I went back and touched up places and did things and tried to make it look good and things like that. But basically, I made sure the Alex was everywhere, and then I went right down the middle to make a groove or a rut or something like that, whatever you want to call it. So the Alex is actually thicker on the sides and thinner down the middle, making like a raised riverbank. And then today, this morning, I guess, I took some light earth and went over the raised riverbank area up to where the grass was. So the texture goes right up to the grass. Now, before I move on to any other tiles, I kind of want to show you, I'm not sure if you can really see this, but there is a gray, dark gray here. There's dark gray here and here. And that was the original color of this dark earth from Vallejo. The AK dark earth is much darker and more brown, right? Where this is more gray. So I did a little bit, I got a tile or two, maybe the tile that's under there is mostly the gray. And then I went ahead and added some nutmeg to my mixture, a good amount. I don't know how much. If the dark earth was down to about here, I added probably about 5 millimeters worth. I don't know exactly how much that is, maybe 1/10. And then I mixed it up, and then I started applying it, and that's this color right here, which is more of a brown, and you can kind of see the contrast in color. Now I deliberately did this. I went with the gray up to about halfway, and then I did the brown back up to about halfway, and there's a little bit of a transition between the two colors right here, so that one side of the battlefield will be mostly gray, and then the other side of the battlefield will be mostly brown. But I really like this brown color. I mean, 100% love that brown color. Okay, so you are up to date on most of that. Now, as I go ahead and texture this video might go on a little while, so if you don't enjoy me rambling and working on this, then fast forward or skip or whatever. But there is what am I trying to say? Oh, if you've been following my channel, and you know that I've decided to go 100% Battlefront miniatures for the figures that I'm going to be using. I already used some Old Glory, and I've already used some Plastic Soldier Company, but I'm less than 100% impressed with those model companies. Plastic Soldier is really good figures. I really like the look of their figures. They're just a little bit too accurate. I don't mean, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing to some players. But as a game piece, I want my figures to, let me rephrase that. I don't want my figures, but I want my weapon systems to be a little bit out of scale. I want them to be just a little bit on the large side. I made this same complaint in 28 millimeter with another miniature company called Offensive Miniatures. They make excellent looking miniatures, but at 28 millimeter, a rifle, let's say an M1 Garand, is just way too thin on a model that you want to war game with, because that rifle's going to break or bend, or it's going to, you know, it's just not going to, it's not going to hold up. And then if you start talking about Plastic Soldier Company, you know, 15 millimeter, they're making their weapons accurately thick, you know, their thickness and everything is accurate. Those weapons are super fragile, like they're going to break if you just look at them the wrong way. But when I look at my Battlefront miniatures, the rifles are just a little bit thicker than they're supposed to be, and that's okay. And there's not only are they going to be more durable, but I'm an old man, and it's hard to tell if that's a Thompson or a rifle unless it's out of scale, like it's a little bit bulky. Then it's easy to tell who's carrying the BAR and who's carrying a rifle. But with Plastic Soldier Company, it is almost next to impossible to tell who has the BAR and who has a rifle. So unless, you know, it's written on the bottom of their base, or you're just, you know, you pick the figure up and you look at it, you know, 6 inches from your face. I'm too old for that. I wanna be able to look at the figure on the table when I'm refereeing and saying, that guy over there is a BAR and that guy over there is a rifle. You know, it's so I can help my players. I don't want to get down and, you know, pick their figures up and look at them and say, let me take a look. Does this have a, yeah, this could be a BAR, you know. Doesn't that look good? That looks great. I'm loving it. Okay, and so having said that, I've already completed my glider troops in Plastic Soldier and my grenadiers in Plastic Soldier. So what I've done is ordered a complete new set of American infantry and German grenadiers by front rank, not front rank. I say front rank by Battlefront. They're the guys that do the Flames of War miniatures, and so I ordered those, and the grenadiers should be here tomorrow. The Americans, I don't know. Wait, they should be here by maybe this weekend, or maybe even early next week. Everything's shipped. I'm just waiting for it to get here. I know the Grenadiers, the tracking number said it was going to be here tomorrow. So by the time you watch this video, it would be today. Because I'm filming this video after midnight, and then I have to edit it and upload it for you guys. Yeah, everybody in the house is asleep. I'm doing this while they're asleep. Okay, so I put this over here to raise another tile because I don't want this to stick to anything. And I only have one more tile that needs this brown. That's excellent. Okay, so having I'm giving you like just a little bit of updates here and there. Hopefully I'm recording. Hold on. It looks like I'm recording. If not, no big deal. Too late. I also ordered some Fallschirmjägers, which I received and I've got up on the shelf over there. And I've ordered some British paratroopers. Because I was planning on doing other scenarios, not just this one, you know, expand my collection and everything. So this evening, I broke out my British Paras from Battlefront. It's a para company, right? And then I started piecing them together, and you know, I washed them because I was thinking I was gonna prime them tonight. Maybe base them up and prime them tomorrow or something. But I was planning on working on some of these British Paras. And just looking at the figures on the sprues, I was thinking, okay, I was going to have enough to do 2 platoons of British Paras using the battle group organization charts. But then I started, you know, snipping them out and getting them. I was organizing the rifles and the Bren gun and the mortars and the Piat, and so I was organizing all that, and I realized there's not enough riflemen to do a 2 platoons of paratroopers in the battle group rules. In Flames of War, yes. I compared the 2 organizations, and Battle Group and Flames of War have 2 different organizations. Now both of those are a man-to-man game, so every man represents 1 man. They should be exactly the same, wouldn't you think? Because they're both trying to base it on history. So what I'm going to have to do, because I'm just using their book TONEs, what I'm going to have to do is actually go to reality. I'm going to have to go to history and find out exactly what was in these platoons. And my guess is Flames of War is probably closer. And the reason why I say that is because just going with my memory, just going with my belief, I think that the British Paras had a high percentage of Sten guns. You know, Thompsons and Sten guns. And that would be the same as the Flames of War, because they give you not 50%, but probably at least 25 to 30% Sten guns. And in Battle Group, the rules, which is a submachine gun, you're only allowed to have 1 submachine gun per squad. Yeah, you're only allowed to have one submachine gun per squad, and that means I only need like one for the company commander and one for the each platoon leader, and then one for each squad leader. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only need like 8 submachine guns in battle group for a company of British paratroopers. And the Flames of War set comes with like 20. And that's how they explain the same number of squads, they have the same number of men approximately. They have the same number of men, but like a higher percentage of submachine guns. So I'm going to have to figure that out, because if the British paras are supposed to have a higher percentage of machine guns, submachine guns, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put like a submachine gun on every stand or something, and just make it a and just say, screw you, battle group. You don't know what you're talking about. But luckily, that's not the project I'm working on, so I don't need to worry about that. Now, when I get the American Rifle Company in from Battlefront, hopefully it's got the right number of, like, what do you call them, BARs and things like that. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to have to continue to use my figures that I currently have. This one, okay. I can stay there. This is that same road off of that same, not every dirt road is going to be this texture of dirt. But I want it to be this texture. I really like this brown. The dark brown is too dark, and the dark earth from Vallejo is too gray. So I basically said F it and made my own color. I added some brown to this, and it actually looks really good. The gray and the brown mixed to make a very good, in my opinion, a very good dirt color. I might have to get some more of this and mix my own brown in it and use it for my bases as well, because I don't know, I fell in love with this color. And I was also thinking about filling in some of these gaps. Okay, I'm trying, as I'm doing this update and I'm actively doing these roads and stuff, I'm trying to think of other things that I'm working on in my project that I haven't talked to you about yet. If the Grenadiers come in and they don't have the right number of mortars, or if they don't have machine guns that I need or whatever, which I'm suspecting they're not going to have, because I'm not sure. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they're going to have a bunch of MG42s or something. And if they do, then I'm going to rebase. Well, not rebase, but I'm going to be basing up the Flames of War models to match the TO&E from the scenario. And the American paratroopers, they're already done. I just need those glider troops to look better, and I want the Grenadiers to look better as well. And I haven't touched the Fallschirmjägers that I've got. Those guys are untouched. Now I still have to paint the groove in the river, and then I was going to use the, no, I'm not going to use the AK. I think I was going to use, this is gel. I was going to use maybe the Vallejo because it's very thin. I thought I had learned a few things over the last couple of days that I needed to share, and I'm just trying to remember what those are. Let me look at my figures, my buildings, my tanks, my bases. Yeah, I think all of that is good. I still need to do more hedges and bocage because of the increased size of this map. This battlefield is now going to be 25% larger. It's 8 feet instead of 6. Oh, I can say this because maybe I didn't touch this on the last update. I'm not double-siding any of these boards. These are all going to be single-sided because I was struggling setting the map up and tearing it down with these extra pieces that I had to constantly slide under the double-sided boards, or the ones I planned to have double-sided. And with them directly attached to those that I was going to do double-sided, there's no fiddling around. I just lay it down, it'll already have the backing. Also, I realized that if I was going to put grass and texture on it, or any kind of flocking that I might do, or anything on one side, if I flip it over, or if I put it on one side and not the other, or on both sides, it's going to be out of proportion with the rest of the table because the flock will actually raise everything up. Not a whole lot, but it will raise it up. If every board was double-sided, that would be no problem because the flock would raise the entire thing up. But because it was only going to be on 3 boards, I decided not to do it. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go set that somewhere. I'm basically just doing the dirt roads now. And if the dirt road comes up and goes onto the asphalt, I usually just drag a little bit of the extra dirt onto the asphalt. Not only is it allowing it to blend at the paper edge, but it also makes it look like if someone was driving and they came onto the road, they would have brought some of that dirt with them. But I definitely need to texture the edge of where the paper is, maybe a little extra, so that it breaks up the fact that there's a paper edge. Don't have to do 100%, but just break it up a little bit. And then drag like a car's turning around a corner, so you kind of do like there's a turn there, and then there's like a straight. There we go. That looks good. And then if it gets on the grass, that's no big deal. It's just dirt. But I want to disguise the blue. Now I haven't done any of the edges yet. I think I'm going to do the edges in green, like I did the last one, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do a green. Definitely the outer edges are going to be in green, but the inner edges I think I'm going to do in green as well. You know, because like you would be able to see that blue right there even with the tiles pushed together, because the green paper was not cut perfectly to the edge. Same thing with this. Because the paper is not all the way to the edge and there's a little bit of blue, I think I need to paint this side green and bring some of that paint up over the edge. But I'm also going to use the Mod Podge mixed with paint to give it a sealant, like a sealer kind of deal. Yeah, that looks good. I'm running out of places to put these tiles where they don't stick to something. Okay. Where's that road? Okay, that's the back and this is the bottom. Okay. Okay, so this is the farm complex over here. That's where the bridge sits. Alright guys, well, I can't think of anything else I need to really talk about. Other than, I guess I'll continue with this, do the river, and oh yeah, okay, one more thing I want to talk about. This is not really related to the 15mm project, but I did film painting some grenadiers and painting some Panzer Lehr and Volks grenadiers and an anti-tank gun, and those are all 28mm, and I painted those and filmed them, but I filmed them all at the same time, and so what it will it's very hard for me to edit this video, so what I'm asking is to bear with me on some work on the tiles and my miniatures and everything else, because those videos need to be edited, and I did it in a bad way. I learned my lesson. I filmed them all at the same time, and so now I have to go through each of the videos and cut out the part of the video that doesn't apply to the one video that I'm making, because I did the Panzer Grenadiers. I filmed that, and then while the camera was still running, not at the same time. Let me rephrase that. I painted flesh with the Panzer Grenadiers, and then I painted flesh with the Volks Grenadiers, and then I painted flesh with the SS, and then the anti-tank gun, and all that, and then I went back and made another video where I painted the weapons for the Panzer Grenadiers, then the Volks Grenadiers, then the SS, etc., etc., and then what it wound up doing was I made 20 videos, but those videos each have multiple parts. And so I might be off the air a minute while I do some editing and video editing and stuff like that. Alright guys, well thanks for coming out and watching this 15mm project update. I know it was probably a little long, but let me finish doing this, and then I will go back and edit the video and then upload it hopefully tonight, and you'll be able to see it tomorrow, and give me any feedback or whatever. Okay. Yeah, want to do this on both sides. All right, I'll see you in the next one.